Monarch Legacy of Monsters is likely going to come down as being a big, big disappointment. I don't know. There's a couple episodes left. I got caught up, and it just always gives me pieces of things that could be interesting, but then they just. Episode 6 is just a filler episode, which I got to be honest, wasn't nearly. I expected it to be so bad because Mariko Tamaki did it. She's the I Am Not Starfire writer. No idea why she has credentials to write this. Basically, it's this long-winded, boring story about the hacker girl named May, who's really named Cora, and she's kidnapped, and backstory, talking, hacker, irritating people, a new lady boss, another kidnapping, kids are on the run, blah, blah, blah. Kurt Russell's character does a test, and that's it. And you're like, what? Why did I sit through all of this to get to this one scene that actually matters to get to the next episode? Like, it's so I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is happening? So we finally get to this episode, and it was like, all right, so we flash back to the characters that we like. Young Bill Ranta, the girl, the real scientist. Now, I admit, there's a couple of things that are pretty cringy, right? What is with the obsession of them people who are writing? Well, here's the thing. I know they're not real scientists is part of the problem because real scientists really are very rarely talking about sports this much. This happens a lot in movies where like scientists out of the blue start talking about, my son will have this great curveball and whatever. Like, you are a nerd. Like, what on earth? It's okay. It wasn't terrible, but it was a little close to the edge. Anyway, so this is all fine. It works out well. He's flashing back to being there with them. And then you end up within the long-winded drama about Monarch, and this guy now is helping them. This is how bad the show is. The show doesn't have. They've tried to give him a character and like a reason why he'd feel this way. I must be the only one. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. You guys will tell me. I didn't buy his change at all. His change of heart. He's suddenly not pro Monarch. He's not trying to be the trickster. The Monarch, the people that were in charge of doing all this, they are so loosely aligned with any sort of like mission statement or anything like that. I have no idea what they were doing in the last 10 years or so. Like, I don't understand what anyone's doing. You have this random girl who's at some station in the middle of nowhere getting readings, and then suddenly she's allowed to just keep wandering off and calling someone, and just there's so many things that just happen that don't make any real sense in anything. Like the concept of these people should be responding to the fact that there are Titans, trying to find out where they are where they're going to strike next. All of the different things that should be happening in a world that's, quote, post-G-Day. That's the term they use for Godzilla's attack in the original movie. All of that is sort of like put on the back burner for these massively long-winded, lady boss to lady boss type stories. What we doing with the kids stories, flashing back to them talking about how they figured out there were tunnels, and just who in their right mind thought that any of this was interesting? This is the Disney Marvel. I said this before. Disney and then Apple wants to be like Disney. It's this long-winded nonsense. That's literally like the last episode was like maybe 5 minutes we would keep. We might keep 5 minutes, okay? And in this episode, we might keep, I don't know. We'll get to it. Let's get there because we really don't need any of this. We need like a very quick summation of these sequences. Because they're just distracted. This is them going on this hunt for, and by the way, they figure out their where in the world of San Diego moment of figuring out where Kurt Russell's character is. He's in Kazakhstan, and they can just be there in an instant. Not that it takes 12, 18 hours. Not that the other people wouldn't already be there. Not that they couldn't pick them up on radar. Just don't think. Don't think. Don't analyze it. Just don't. I just can't, my brain. All right. We get there though, and it's like they stumble across the fact that there's stuff, and then there's like exoskeletons. So that's what we find. So we end up with like some sort of semblance of, oh, by the way, we have kaiju, we have creature, we have titans, we have something going on here, and there's this giant tunnel. Okay? And then we flash back and forth with them. And this is this this is this human drama that we're supposed to be real attached to. And reality was that their backstory is among the more interesting elements in this. But remember, she was like 5 minutes away from like just banging the younger Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell. Just I don't want to lose sight of the fact that, yeah, she seems all attached to Bill, and we know she gets with Bill, but let's just not lose sight of the fact that they tried to make her a whore a minute ago, like 5 seconds ago. Yeah, just saying. And by the way, she's got some other kid. That's what this scene is about. He's all fine with it. And then we cut back to the time. It's like talky talk. And then more talky talk where he finally reveals that the Godzilla still exists. I don't understand why it was such... So the rationale of not telling the Swede about Godzilla was that he'd make a bigger bomb. That was literally... The rationale... I literally kid you not. The lack of any intellectual honesty in the show is really fascinating. So Godzilla survives the bomb, right? They don't know that. The scientists know that, but not the military. The military think they won. Scientists know, no, Godzilla survived. We don't want to tell the military because it'll make a bigger bomb. Meanwhile, Godzilla's out there. So Godzilla's going to go and kill people, which you're now responsible for because you don't want to do anything to stop. I'm not saying they know how to. I'm not saying they can't, but you have to think about from the character standpoint. We would want to protect people from Godzilla, right? That's kind of the point of at this point. This is all we kind of thought Monarch was for, and instead, the rationale is, it's a bigger bomb, so therefore you don't do it. And this is where Wyatt, he betrays her trust and says, "Yeah, Godzilla exists," because he's trying to get funding. And this is them in our time going through this long diatribe of them explaining that they've got this portal thing and it's closing the portal, so it's not actually opening. So this is the worm-like kaiju things that come out of the ground. And I don't have a good sequence here. Let's see if I can find a shot. Here we go. Anyway, we get like the last 3 or 4 minutes of something actually happening. And then it's done in a way that's they just can't help themselves. They just can't help. What probably should have happened is the thing should have emerged and been ready to kill one or two or all of them, and then the show goes black, and we'll see what happens to how they get out of this situation. Right? Kurt Russell's there. Maybe he started the bomb. The bomb is ticking, and the thing emerges. Right? So okay. No, they can't do that. They can't do that. That's not where they want to start things. No, they want to have people falling in the hole. We know they're not going to die. We are just putting them in this portal hole thing so they can close it off. But now they're going to close it off so that now they're on that side of it. And the completely useless brother, by the way, and I may say useless, he's left on the outside of things because he's completely a waste of time. The girls are the only ones that ever have any contribution to the conversations that matter. They're the only ones that get flashbacks that matter. It's just it's really fantastic how well the show does to derail its own progress. Like even if it makes progress or doing something good, it has to stack up 5 things against itself to get out. It's remarkable how bad this show has really been put together. It really is a Disney show. It just happens to be an Apple Plus show. How I feel. It's literally is like, what I expect from Echo, what Miss Marvel or something like that is. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy because we want to see some monsters. Does anyone know what Monarch is now? So the lady boss goes public with Monarch at some point during this episode. And she just says stuff about, we were here all along and we're here to protect you or whatever. I forget where the scene is. And because it just happens. It's literally like 30 seconds of time or whatever. Oh, you got to go public. That's your best solution. I don't know where it is. It's just so dumb. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. I'm Pops.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing.